Thank you, Lou. Yeah, I mean, with all the physicists proving mathematically, unequivocally these proofs, I think they're ultimately proving that this is nothing more than consciousness. So, with that said, this next young lady absolutely knocks our socks off. She's new to us this past year, and magic in her words, magic. Colette Kavana. Are you going to bitch and moan, or are you going to dazzle us with your words? Okay, let me get your frame. Yep.
This is called A Cry of Leaves. It's a poem I'm reading tomorrow for Poetics for Political down in Peekskill. So we're going to try it out tonight. Sometimes I think a leaf is stranded in itself, as a voice, a witness to all events, a ghost looming in the summer haze, where images of dust and sunlight float across the madness of the mind. Tiny clusters of atoms subsumed with grief, to flake away, to miss again. A dozen red leaves which eat my oxygen, until I'm almost suspended in the leaf, nourished under rock, quenched by raindrops, as though each of us were alone and free, objects beside the mad, castled in leaves like kings and queens. I shut my eyes to chill of leafless tree, the discharged womb of landscape, the black crackles which dry the wind, withering the dark bruise of digested leaves in storm drains, dark belly of mulch, wading through the gates for shelter, evoking fleeting presences that loiter under parked cars in a city unmended, tongues of truth held empty at the fire, a mouth at the door, a blame of hunger. And this they name life and cycle and movement, the sun's parched screams, where trees diminish bare to sit mute, where night falls black by melting tar, to scuttle about on impulse, hearts of leaves touching objects, piercing time's core, floating through locked droplets of dew, grief, anger, to leave alone tears, tears frozen on leaf's vein, where silence after silence settles itself in rustle and bustle and crunch and crush under my feet, like dead bodies without complaint. As black lays upon a city's walls, and daylight lays its sameness on the gold, yellow, and red-veined carcass under rubbish of fall. From broken throats of weeds, where pine needles lay their bedding, inhabiting shelves of leaves, their witness bearing no identity to the eyes of the child with split tears, one half for hunger, one half for homeless. The poison of the greenest lawns where all leaves perish, faceless and pale burnt nerve of childhood, all of our blood rooted and netted in loose teeth of dark. Without the leaves we cannot exist. Without the shade offered by the tree, we are all coffins, where day widens and thins. We are vertical conversations amongst the leaves, where I still feel you in the leaves, find myself in the transitory colors, where I hit the sun and you begin to melt and you float, where your color and shape floats, collects my memory, the way graffiti on subway walls become the maps, leaving to numbness, the trees' loneliness, the trees' children passing their bodiless souls across green landscape, black-holed alleys where the leaves' silhouettes are pressed to mud, sending up no fires from where they fall, laying extensionless, abandoned, in sense of absence, unaffected, unanswered, floating on their delicate feet over the cold, blackness, and silence, stitching life into their veins like organs, the faceless faces with their hands and palms turned, to catch the seeds about to break, to plant the trees, to float the leaves, to wither in the streets, in the cracks of leaves, to stand sightless as we learn to speak with fingers and not tongue. Little black twigs no longer to bud. It is only time which weighs the hands, turns the pages of the leaves, the incalculable malice which waits and aches, arranging the morning. I do not fear it. I have been there. I've been inhabited by the cries of the hopeless, crushed leaves beneath my feet, the clawed and bloodied remains of justice, the groove of fault of torn leaves, the spawned mold spores which circulate the heart. We are fertile. We peer the poet through the door. We hold the frost upon the leaf. We flick the leaves across the street. We pick the coins of the dead. We watch our hands close doors. We humor the weakness. We digress in the loneliness of hate. Leaves lying with their hands held up, utterly empty, against the outrage of the sky. I wonder how hungry they are, these leaves, if I could turn myself into a tree in a winter of frost. My flesh, my bone, my blood, would they feed from me, untouched and untouchable? Will they float and drag and scream, or float like garland, dragged around by a cat? Would they lie on their back in the drenched grass? Would they converse in the meadow of worms, the shade of my lips, blood berries drained on their flesh? Will they enter animals, the earth? Will the decay bore me? Their odor plead to me, exit my fantasy, to come apart like clouds, to leave me, to be drained of abstract diagram of every face, to be curtains lifting in the breeze, asking for pardon, a stranger's poverty, unburdened by casualty and death. Where is that paradise, the empty tomb where the body sets aside a fresh green breast of newfound leaves, of a new world, a new place, where everything you saw and felt and heard diminishes, the burden of each new day, disillusionment, a vodka bottle lying on the floor, a bullet in the mouth, the long fall from the roof of the building, the eyes of leaves which penetrate the camouflage, comprehend the terror, obscure the trappings of the body, a dead tree visible from my window. This is completely the opposite. This is that.
Take a breath. That's extraordinary. You're going to rock tomorrow.
I hope so.
Well, you did here.
This one is when you find that person. For me, it was my second stage in life, my second person that I found. And you wake up every day and you're just in awe that he is yours and you are his. It's untitled still. I will stitch my veins around your torn seams, open your skin with my teeth in a field full of sun, make a staircase to your spine for my fingers to climb to. I will covet your secrets as I count space between your breath. Paint your arms and legs so your peeled, cracked skin never knows cold. I will echo back every heartbeat into a sympathy across the powder of your bones. Connect your dots with the black Sharpie across your shoulders in the vestibule of morning light. I will search for ways in because I won't want out. I will take your lived hand, carve it into my back in the shape of a poem. Words of truth and teeth and wings, born of our fire. I will name the wind the feel of my fingertips as I walk your hardened route. I will draw a compass on your belly to the hive of my virgin, unwrap wings of my glass, a red lotus opening its bowl of blood, limp with contemplation, a harbor for your teeth and tongue, my breast two shining steeples, given testament to the sky. I will rip the parts of you living inside of me, return them to you, while our hearts are still intact. Your winter-worn gray tongue, waiting the blush of my cranberries. I will lose my fingers in the tangled scent of bone of your marrow. I will cage you from myself, feed your heart with my words, starve you with silence in the unquestionable dark. My legs growing into you like ivy wrapped around the trellis. The tinder of our sexuality collapsing under your skin, grafted to bone marrow of clouds, the wind's path of sparrow, nourishing each other by tongue, waking up the earth to carry you to final bed, where love does not die, but containfully simmers before dissolving into silence.